Good morning, class. We'll continue looking at the elements of literature. In our last lesson, we're looking at the plot, and we discussed that the plot is the storyline of the events. In other words, what is happening in the story is what we call a plot. Whatever you're writing on is what we call a plot. And we discussed that a plot should have an exposition, a plot should have a complication, a plot should have a climax, and a plot should have a resolution. Just in a nutshell, a summary of what we discussed. A plot, we said that constitutes a climax. A climax is the juicy part of the story, the exciting part of the story. The resolution, we said, is the ending of the story. And the complication, we said, this is a conflict in the story that brings excitement, or that leads to a climax of the story. And today we'll be looking at the theme of a story. What is a theme? A theme, in simple terms, can be defined or explained as what you are going to discuss in the story. Your main topic. What's your topic in the story? What do you want to write about? Is what we call a theme. It can be that you want to write about sadness, you want to write about happiness, and then you develop a story of how you show your happiness. I went to the village, I was chatting with the family, we were all laughing. So that constitutes a theme of happiness. You are writing about happiness. The main idea is what we call a theme. Moving on, the theme of a fable is its moral. Remember in our previous lessons when doing the reading and the fables and the folktales, I would ask you to write about the moral of the story. That's a theme. That's a theme of the story. The theme of a parable is its teaching as well. So every writing has its own story that's telling. And let's say in fiction, the theme is not intended to teach or preach anything. A theme, remember, a fiction, remember, it's a story that's just right for excitement. It's not really true, or it does not capture the true events. It's something that a writer just creates in his or her mind. In fact, it is not presented directly at all. You can extract it from characters' action and setting that makes up the story. In other words, you must figure out the theme yourself. So when you're writing a fiction, you can just write anything and you decide that this story is teaching us about something, happiness. It's teaching us about sadness. It's teaching us about joy. You can write about love. So that's the main story. That's the theme. That's the main idea of a story. The writer's task is to communicate on a common ground with the reader. Although the particulars of your experience may be different from the details of the story, the general underlying truths behind the story may be just the connection that both you and the writer are seeking. So as a writer and a reader, you have to develop a connection in your writing as a writer. What do you want to tell your readers? What should your reader learn out of your story? So that's what a theme is all about. Here are some ways that you can uncover a theme, or these are here a bit of hints how you can discover that this story is talking about love, this story is talking about joy, this story is talking about happiness. Those I'm just giving examples of themes. So here are some of the hints to uncover a theme. Check out the title. Sometimes it tells you a lot about the theme, or it tells you a lot about the story. So you can just read at you can just check out the title of a story, and you can tell that this story is going to be about fun. It's going to be about sadness. Let's see the death at the palace. If I say the death about the palace as a title, I'm trying to write a story and I'm thinking the death at the palace. Just looking at the title itself, death, you can have an idea that this is going to be about sadness, because death definitely brings about sadness. So just by that title, or just by a title of a story, or a fable, or a folktale, you can tell that what theme is going to be about in the story, what theme you're going to capture in the story. In other words, we can also check out the theme of, we can also uncover a theme of a story by noticing its repeating patterns and symbols. Sometimes this leads you to the theme. The way the writer keeps on writing about something, keeps on writing about a particular thing, or they invest in the story, keep on writing, keep on messaging. I went to this party, after that party I went to another party, then my grandma invited me for dinner, we also enjoyed with our families. Such sequence of events can tell you that this theme is about happiness. You see, this is about joy. Just an example. You can also uncover a theme by looking at the details or particulars in the story. What greater meaning do they have? What meaning is this story telling us? You can uncover a theme like that. Just looking at the story and then what's this story, what meaning is it carrying? That way you can also uncover a theme of a story, the main idea of the story. Remember that theme, plot, and structure are inseparable. So a plot, remember, is a storyline. So the storyline, the theme, is incorporated in the plot. Whatever you're writing, remember I said the plot, whatever you constitute of whatever you're writing is part of the plot. And the theme is in the plot. In other words, or helping to inform and reflect back on each other. So theme and the plot reflect on each other. Also be aware that a theme would determine from a story never completed, explain the story. It is simply one of the elements that make up the whole story. Yeah, you can write a story by just looking at the main idea. So that's basically what a theme is all about. A theme is a topic, the main idea of a story. It can be different themes in a story. It's not just one. You can write about happiness, and then you can also conclude that after the happiness it ended in sadness, the person died, or the person got sick, or the person experienced something that brought about sadness. So a theme can be, a story can carry different themes in one story. So that's what we've looked at today. In our next topic, I would like us to look at the characters. This is a very simple thing, characters in a story. From the characters, then we'll look at the point of view and the tone. So you can be reading on that as well, the tone. What's the tone in a story? What's the point of view in a story? And what are characters in a story? Till we meet again in the next lesson. Thank you very much.